All right. I think this should be good. All right. Going live. All right. Welcome, everybody. I hope the audio is better. So if anyone has any, can hear it at all or has any comments on it, just fire away. Because I know last week our audio was terrible and I apologize for that. It was really choppy. And I think it was just the holder of the mic. The one piece was bouncing around a little bit when I was moving and it was chopping around. So I really apologize. I'm trying something a little bit different today. So we'll see how that works. But hopefully the audio is a little bit better. If it does get crackly or if it's bad, let me know. And we can just go to the regular mic and see how that is. So hopefully it sounds better and hopefully everyone can hear okay today. But we had some good questions come in throughout the week, which is awesome. So we've got a couple that are all addressed right off the bat. And again, if you have any questions or things you'd like to touch on or skills you'd like to see broken down, fire them in the comments and we'll get to those obviously throughout the live today. So any questions, fire away. And if you have any comments or any opinions on stuff, even if I'm talking about a skill and you want to add something to it or something that maybe that you've done as a coach or parent or even as a player that you've done that you think works really well with that skill, let us know and I'll add it to our comments and to what we're talking about here as well. So all right, so for anyone who's checked in, thank you very much for coming aboard and checking out the live today with the National Skill Development Association. But one of the things that came up this week, so we're in Ontario here, rinks started opening up in some of the areas, so some of the players got back to getting on the ice, which is awesome. And we're stuck to groups of 10 players, which is not the worst thing in the world. Obviously, we got ice, which is great, but there's 10 players on the ice. And one of the players came back, he's like, yeah, we got bag skated. And I was like, what? And for anyone who doesn't know what bag skating is, basically they got lined up and they got skated, not to punish them, but just let's see who's in shape. Let's see who's done some stuff over the break. Let's see who's not break, but over the shutdown. And these players have been off the ice since Boxing Day. So you're looking at, 2 month and a half roughly. And my question, I guess, to you, and the way I took it was, is this necessary? Is this what should be going on? Should players get bag skated while they're coming back to play? Whether they were on their gaming system and YouTube the whole time and didn't do anything, is that the right thing to do as a coach? I strongly disagree with it. I think there's a lot that you can do as far as getting good pace and getting some good drills and different things like that to get your players up to speed and get them some touches on the puck. But at the end of the day, I think we want it to be fun. They're all excited to come back to the rink. They're all pumped to come back, see their buddies get on the ice. And then you have coaches that are like, we got to get back in shape. We got to get back at it. We got to get games going again. And I think we're just taking away from what the whole real purpose of this is, right? Is what is sport? What is hockey? Let's have fun. Let's enjoy it. Yeah, for the elite players, we want to get better, but first couple practices back, maybe coaches out there, let's be creative. I mean, we had 6 weeks to come up with a sick practice for 10 players, right? Knowing that we're probably going to come back with small groups. So I think I was kind of a little disheartened when I heard that. I was like, man, that sucks. You got to go, go to practice now. Now every practice we're getting, skated and it's not very fun. I think there's creative ways to make players get better, obviously work hard and obviously have some fun and hopefully get better at their skills as well while they're doing it. So just a comment I wanted to make. And if you have any questions or if you have any feedback on that, go ahead. But should players going back to hockey right now after being off for 6-7 weeks, should they be skated hard? Should they be bag skated? Should they be put through the ringer, or should they just have fun and kind of enjoy it and get a week of just kind of good reps in while they get back? So that's out to you. If you have any comments on that, fire away. So a couple of questions that I had. First one was from Nick, and Nick, thanks a lot for the questions. I really appreciate it. And you've asked a couple every week, which is awesome. So I really do appreciate that. But the one question was how to refine accuracy in a wrist shot or snapshot. So if you're working with your young player and you want them to get accurate, because we all know a lot of times pucks are spraying all over the place when players are shooting them, right? The biggest thing when you want to get accurate with your shot, number one, is if you were shooting a bow and arrow, a slingshot, throwing a pitch, shooting a gun, whatever you're doing, what would be the number one thing that you would have to do in order to hit that target? You have to look at it, right? Whereas in hockey, young kids, a lot of times their head's down and they're just shooting. So the biggest thing is getting players comfortable having their head up. All right. Now, step one is head up for sure. So that's going to help your accuracy, no doubt. Looking at where you're going to shoot. And then as you get better, I could be looking at this corner and I'm shooting at that corner, right? But I could be looking off my shot a little bit to be deceptive. But number one with young kids, looking at where you're going to shoot. And the second one is our technique and our hand positioning. So hand positioning in a good spot. We talk about this all the time. Top hand up and our hands are away from our body so I can get some leverage on my stick. And in order to be accurate, you want to follow through. So if I follow through, I want to shoot and follow through to where I'm going to put that puck. So for instance, if I'm going low here, and when you follow through, we talked about this, I think, on one of the first lives, but the days of the old school wrist shot finishing perfectly at the target is kind of gone now. Everything's fast, it's quick. You see when players shoot, they fire it, and then right away they're coming back. So I tell players, shoot their bottom hand, right, and their blade at where they're going to go. So you want to push with that bottom hand and then follow through with that bottom hand and that blade to where you want that puck to go. So for instance, if I'm going to go low, I'm really going to cut my blade, push down on the ice, and I'm going to follow through low. If I want to go high, I'm going to push the ice, push down, and then I'm going to follow through high. So for instance, I'm going to shoot low here, push, and then I follow through low. If I'm going to shoot high, same idea. I'm going to push down, and then I'm going to follow through up. So I'm looking at my target, push, and then follow through up on that shot. So that's, I think, the biggest thing is where you're going to follow through, whether it's a wrist shot or a snap shot, right? And again, trying to get rid of that load. So not coming way back here to load a wrist shot. We try to keep that puck in a good spot and then getting comfortable with that head up and then falling through to where you want to shoot. So awesome question. Hope that helped. If you have any comments or anything you want to add, or you'd like that explained a little bit more in a different situation, go ahead. The reason I pushed the live back today to one is we were on the ice this morning with some young kids. So we started kind of some return to hockey, little pro or little skates. And we had some young kids on the ice. And one of the things that came up actually on the ice, say when you're talking about accuracy, is that blade. So when you're coming in and pushing with that stick and that blade being opened up, trying to take a shot, right? We want to make sure that our blade's in a good spot, meaning that blade's cupped, and we're not letting that puck get too far away from our body. So again, going back to accuracy, keeping that puck in a good spot. And if you're going to bring it back a little bit, no problem, and then follow through on that shot. But we don't want kids way back here or way out here trying to shoot that puck. Getting that puck in a good spot, keeping that blade cupped, and then again following through that bottom hand and the blade of our stick. So I hope that helps. Sometimes I can get long-winded, so you can just turn me off if I get too long with it. Another question I had was from Brad, and it was kind of coming back as we're coming back to practices and stuff like that right now. And some people are in small groups, some people are in full team practices. What are some skills or focus that we should be working on in practice? So number one focus, I think, is having fun, getting the players some touches, getting them back on the ice, getting them to enjoy it, skate around, have some fun. But I think fun is the number one thing, obviously. And then when you think of skills, I think touching on skating a little bit is fine if you want to warm up, with edging, depending on the age group of your players. But warming up a little bit with their skating, getting them back comfortable on their edges, stuff like that. And I really feel like puck touches, because even with the groups we've seen this week coming back on the ice, even though they've been on outdoor rinks and playing shinny, they're passing, picking up passes, and shooting hard is not great, because a lot of times you think of shinny, you're shooting on a little net, or you're playing against other players with no gear on, so no one's really raising the puck or firing it hard, so you're kind of moving around. So I think even just getting back into like making hard passes, right, and getting good shots off is huge. So if you're going to go back and maybe your first couple practices, what I would recommend is make your practice really focused and kind of emphasizing a lot of puck touches. So stick handling, passing the puck, give and goes, right, hard cross ice passes, and then a lot of shooting where they got to catch release. But just getting comfortable catching the puck, letting shots go and things like that. Even with the young ages, getting them comfortable again on their edges and stuff, obviously with skating, but then getting them comfortable with the puck, touching, passing, all that kind of stuff. So that would be my big focus, is having fun, throw some games in, throw some races in, have some fun with them. But then also on the skill side of it, work on some skating, work on some edging, and then obviously puck handling, passing, shooting, things like that as well. All right. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Okay, good question. So are there any small area drills to work on linear crossovers? And we talked about linear crossovers, and basically it's kind of a weird term, because you think of linear, you're going straight, and then you think of crossing over, you're going on an angle, right? So when you think of linear crossovers, you think of McDavid when he's skating up the ice. Patrick Kane does them a lot. Basically what a linear crossover is if I have my puck on my stick, all right, and I'm coming up the ice, I'm crossing over one way or the other way, right? So I'm crossing over side to side. Now in a small area, it's hard to do, but you can still obviously perform it. And even having something as simple as, I've got a tiny rink here. The biggest thing with linear crossovers is what you're trying to do is when you're skating up the ice, let's say I'm coming up a full sheet of ice, and I'm on a small rink, I understand that, but I'm coming up a full sheet of ice, and I've got a defender here. By me crossing this way, what am I forcing that defender to do? To try to bite like I might go that way. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up coming and cutting back and coming around as that defender shifts. So you think of McDavid is so good at it. Patrick Kane, same thing, because as he's crossing this way, he's looking this way. That defender's got to think he's going to go that way. And once he steps, then he cuts right back or he crosses right back, right? So that's the idea of linear crossovers. Are you going to pick up speed with them a little bit? But, you know, if you had a player going down the ice side to side crossing over and a player going straight beside them and they were the exact same speed, I put my money on the player going straight every time. But crossing over does add so much deceptiveness, right? Makes players move, makes the whole decor shift. So linear crossovers are great. But a simple little way to do it would be even without a puck. And again, I'm in a small area, but I'll pull my net out. So even doing them up and down the ice nice and slow. So without a puck to start, just coming up and down, just going 1, 2, coming around here, and then same thing, coming 1, 2, and just crossing over, one crossover one way, one crossover the other way, and then adding a puck to it. So once you get comfortable with it, adding a puck and looking one way, cutting the other way. Coming around, same thing, looking one way, cutting the other way. So even though I'm in a small area, all I'm doing now is just trying to work on, you know, creating a little bit of space by looking this way, crossing, and then cutting the other way, right? Or I can look one way like this and cross, so cross this way, and then right away cross back the other way. The big thing when you're doing this, our feet are huge, obviously, so we want to work on crossing over properly, getting our 2 pushes, so our outside push and our under push. The other thing, too, though, is our puck, so being able to move our puck quickly. So if I'm coming in this way here, and I've got my puck out here, when I cut, now I want to lead with that puck and then cross. I want to get that puck protected, keep that puck in a good spot. If I'm going on my backhand side, same thing. So I'm coming out this way. I'm crossing here on my backhand. Now I'm going to pull it across and then lead. And you see a lot of players, too, go to one hand on their stick. So if I'm coming up like this, I'm going to cross this way first. And as I cut back here, I'm going to one hand. And then I can protect that puck, push people off, things like that. So something to keep in mind. I hope that helps. Small, obviously, in small areas, it's a little bit tougher to do, but just working on that footwork is huge. Just coming up and down, just working on crossing one way, crossing the other. So just coming up, cross, right? And all you want is 1 or 2 crosses one way, and then 1 or 2 crosses the other way. So just working on quick feet, crossing those feet side to side, and add that puck and protect that puck as you're going through.
Another one here from Nick on YouTube says, how do you build confidence in young players and get them to not be afraid of possessing the puck in pressure situations?
It's a great question. So the question is, how do you help young players not get scared with the puck or not give the puck away under pressure? So how do you get them to get a little hungry on the puck and then want to have the puck, want to protect the puck, want to keep the puck? And I think it's a really good question. And a lot of players, I mean, my son has that problem. He'll see good players coming down on him, just like let them go and then go chase them, right? Or he'll get a puck on a stick and then look and then just fire it away. So I think the biggest thing with that is putting those young players in situations where they feel that pressure a little bit and they get bumped a bit, or they get, you know, they have a player come trying to steal it off them. So that could be in practice or even a little skill session, but having 2 or 3 players where when that player does have the puck, you know, when we were coaching the young groups, and this is like young kids, 2 things I was telling them is when you get the puck, don't stop moving your feet. Because a lot of young kids do this. They'll get the puck like this, they'll stop, and then they'll just turn. And then now they're in one, and they're not moving anywhere, right? So when they come in and adjust the puck, obviously you want them to try to get looking over their shoulders, so shoulder checking, but then skate with the puck. So now you've got the puck, now skate with it, right? Or if you stop on it, that's fine, but then get going again. So get moving with the puck. So now it's harder for other players to defend you. The other thing is teaching players how to protect the puck. So we've got our puck here. A lot of players, if I've got a player coming on me here, let's pretend I'll just give a cone. But if I got a player coming on me here like this, that's my player coming at me. I'm exposing the puck here, right? So right away, what I want to do, if that player is coming at me here with a stick, all right, right away, what I want to do if I have the puck here is I want to protect it. So either I'm going to pull it away from them, but they're probably going to keep coming, or I'm going to turn my body into them, and now I can protect and try to shield it from that stick. So teaching young players how to use their body, right? Number 1, keep their feet moving and try to move. Number 2, use their body to protect that puck, I think is huge. And then having like players in those situations where they're going to race for a puck, where they're going to get, especially at young ages, it's okay to fall. It's okay to get bumped. You're going to get bumped. Because, I mean, we've all gone through it with young kids where they come to the bench or they come in off a drill and they're like, he hit me. She knocked me down. Well, it's hockey, buddy. You're going to get bumped. You're going to get hit. Sticks are going to hit you, right? So you got to get used to that. But getting them comfortable with that, I think, is huge. And then putting them in situations with drills in practice or small groups where they're going to have to battle for a puck a little bit. They're going to have to work on protecting the puck as they're going through. But I think the biggest thing too is getting players comfortable with just looking over their shoulder, right? Being aware and then protecting that puck. Simple little drill I did this morning, some young kids. I had them come up and just pick up a puck. So there was a bunch of pucks up here. Actually, I'll do it towards you. So let's say there were a bunch of pucks here, and a player was coming back to shoot on the net, okay? And I was giving them pressure. So I was either on the left side of them or on the right side of them, and the player was coming up, and they had to find me. And if I was on that side, they had to turn this way and then come in for a shot. If I was on this side of their body, they would find me, and then they would get their puck and then wheel around for a shot. Really simple. These players are like 7, 8 years old. They're young. Really, really simple, but just getting them to look around so they're not turning into me. And if they would come this way, and how to get out of situations and how to protect the puck, I think would be the huge, huge parts there for how to get players a little more confident with battles and things like that.
Earlier you mentioned how snapshots are kind of a new shot, or shots are going the way of the past. What age do you kind of introduce how to snap a puck, and how do you go about doing that?
Okay. So the question is snapshots and wrist shots. I think snapshots are probably the more used shot in hockey right now. Wrist shots are still relevant. It's just with a wrist shot, it's all game situational. So if you get a pass, catch it, now you're going to wrist it right here, right? Whereas a snapshot, you might catch and then right away just snap it. So they're both relevant, obviously, but I think the snapshot is way more relevant and way more used. But the question was, when do you start teaching it to young players? And my theory on it is as young as you can. So even at 7, 8, 9 years old, their shot's not going to be great, but showing them how to take a proper snapshot. So I think the younger the better, and it could be just as simple as them shooting pucks like this, or just pulling it in there and then snapping it. And I know that looks slow, cumbersome, and terrible, but then that is going to become that little pull and then snap. That's going to become quicker and quicker and quicker until they're snapping the puck better. So I think do it young, work on it young. If a player's just starting to get a wrist shot down, okay, I wouldn't jump into a snapshot. Let them get comfortable with the wrist shot and get good at it. And the biggest thing there is going to be their hand positioning. So making sure they're not trying to snap the puck like this, right? Getting their hands out and then pushing that puck. Even if they start out here, you want them to pull it in and then snap that puck off. But I'd start young as soon as players are starting to get good with the wrist shot and comfortable with it, then start introducing that snapshot a little bit. Another question too that came in on puck protection, which I think is a great kind of leads into this as well, is how to teach a poke check. All right, so a poke check and stick lift. So how to get pucks from other players. So number one thing with a poke check, and you see a lot of times with defensemen or even forwards, right? We want forwards to have a good stick on taking pucks away. A lot of times defenders, especially young players, they'll be extended. So they're backpedaling back like this, stick on puck if that's what they've been told, which is awesome. And what I mean by stick on puck is, again, if I've got a player here, so this player has a puck on their stick, if everyone can see that, and they're skating towards me. I'm a defender. I've got my stick on my puck. So I've got stick on puck. Now, if that player ends up going this way, and I'm here, all I'm going to do is follow them. And all I'm doing is trying to take away shooting, passing lanes. But what happens with a lot of players is they're extended. So I want to keep a little bit of an elbow bend so that I have a little bit of poke action here. Otherwise, if I'm extended, my only poke is here, right? So I want to keep a little bit here. I want to keep in and then top. I can poke at that puck a little bit. And if that player comes, so I'm here like this. Now, what am I creating here? I'm creating a bit of a ramp. So if that player does shoot it, I can ramp that puck up, right? So I can try to get that puck out of the way. And as that player comes around to my backhand side, rather than trying to be extended like this, I'm going to turn my blade over like this on my backhand. So I'm here. I'm going to turn my blade over my backhand. Again, I still got a little bit of room to poke just with my elbow. And I still have a ramp there to deter that player from shooting or passing that puck. So good active stick. And that's going to be kind of my poke. Same thing with forwards going in on the forecheck, just trying to poke pucks away. What you see a lot too for players, and if young players can learn how to do this, is huge. But if a player's got a puck here, so let's pretend this is my player, my invisible player with a hockey stick, and they're here, okay? So I'm going to come in, I'll slide it a little bit. So they're along the boards right here. I'm going to come in with my free hand. And my hand here, stick on the puck and try to knock that puck away down the board. So I've got control of their hips, and I'm trying to scoop that puck and knock that puck away, right? Whether it's on the forehand side or backhand side, same thing. I'm going to come in here, try to flush that puck, try to knock that puck away and work the wall a little bit. So another kind of idea of kind of poking pucks away. As far as stick lifts, There's two ways we can lift the stick, obviously, right? So if I'm coming back on a player here, right? Simple way is just going to be getting the shaft, okay? So just kind of tapping under here. So just tapping as a player skating away from me, I can come in, tap that stick up, and then try to pull that puck. The other way too is scooping a puck, and this is awesome for players, especially as they get a little more comfortable, is just coming in and scooping a puck under a blade. So if that player's sticking on that puck in front of me here, I'm going to come out in front of their blade a little bit, scoop underneath it, and then come in. So if I was skating, all I do with my body is get low, bend, drop my hand, and then scoop that puck. So if I was coming in here, I'm going to get low, come in, bang, and then scoop that puck, and then make a play. And an easy way to practice that is just having pucks anywhere on the ice, doesn't matter, and having players come in and then just scoop that puck and then come in for a shot. We even start drills off sometimes where players skating up the ice like this, right? Just really slow, or coaches, and the player in line has to start the drill by coming up, lifting that stick, getting the puck, and then making a pass, getting a shot, or whatever it is. So you can add that a bunch. And the ending of the question was, when does it become too much on hooking or things like that? And that's something that you got to get good at. You don't want to hook, obviously. You want to try to just tap that stick. So if that stick's here, right, I want to avoid trying to lift it up by his hand. So if a player is on this stick right now, their hands would be here. I don't want to come in and try to lift here. Plus, they're strong there. I want to try to grab the bottom and give it a little tap and then get underneath it and then make a play. So just the more reps players can get at this, the better going to get, obviously, and just continue to work on those little features of it.
Kind of going back to confidence a little bit, Austin had asked, sometimes I try to handle the puck with my head up, but I lose the puck. Any tips on practice?
Yeah, really good question. And buddy, this is from Austin. So Austin asked, sometimes I'm just trying to get more confidence stick handling the pucks. I try to practice with my head up, but a lot of times I lose the puck when I'm stick handling. And I think most players go through this. And Austin, I'll be honest with you, I was terrible at stick handling. I was an outdoor rink guy when I was young. I'm from Sudbury, tons of outdoor rinks up there. And I love playing shinny. We played a lot with tennis balls, so they were light. So you're looking down at your feet all the time trying to get a tennis ball out of it. It wasn't until I got older that I got better at it. But the biggest thing there is when you're practicing this, right? Slow it down. What happens is a lot of players end up coming out and they just do this. And then they end up losing pucks all over the place. Just slow it down. So you're coming in just nice and easy, just eyes up, looking around. And you don't have to make a crazy bunch of stick handles. Just push that puck. The other thing too is when you're handling, make sure your hands are in a good spot. You want to use as much of your blade as you can, right? So just keeping that hand up, so my blade's here. So I'm not stick handling with just my heel like that, right? Sometimes you're going to get put in situations where you have to do that. If you're protecting a puck, maybe you got to hold it out, no problem. But ideally, you're going to come in and keep that top hand up, and then those eyes up. And those eyes up, again, are not just looking up like this, right? It's looking around you. So looking around. So even if you're going to shoot pucks, add stick handling to it. If you're going out to stick handle, obviously keep that head up, keep your hands in a good position. But if you're shooting pucks, add a stick handle to it. So looking around here, maybe it's a pass, get it back, you're looking, and then shot, right? But just keeping those eyes up, looking around, getting that shot. And the biggest thing I can tell you is just continue practicing it, because it sounds like you're on the right track, Austin. But keep those hands in a good position. So don't let your hands slide too tight together. Keep them in a good spot and keep those eyes up. And again, looking around. The better you can look around, way more opportunity you're going to have in a game to see what's going on around you, make plays, get shots, create offense, get pucks out of your zone, all that stuff. So keep doing it, buddy. That's awesome. Okay, so one other thing too, I wanted to talk a little bit about this. And Austin, this might help you a little bit. We were talking the other day about William Nylander. So obviously plays for the Leafs, unreal player. And I know there's a big he doesn't try hard enough. Oh, he's not good. He doesn't work hard, all that stuff. He is, if you watch him play, any dads, moms, or players out there, coaches out there, he is so good at playing with his head up. So Austin, you talked about stick handling with your head up. He is so good at stick handling with his head up. Any move he makes, if you notice William Nylander, he's here all the time. He's looking, making passes. And if you notice his hands are 90% of the time in a good area. He's always ready to make a backhand pass, forehand pass, but his hands are here in a good area. Very seldom do you see him coming through the neutral zone extended like this. He's always in a good spot, and he is so good with his head up. You can see stuff, all these elite players, Marner, all those guys are so good. But if you watch Nylander, he just emphasizes, almost like he over exaggerates his head up. He's almost looking at the bleachers. He's just up, looking around, and then making plays, making passes. So he's a great player to watch, and just watch how he handles the puck. And I wouldn't say he overhandles, I say he stick handles obviously very well, but sometimes he doesn't even handle it much. He just kind of pushes it, looks, and then makes little passes or little taps and touches. So again, for you, Austin, when you're making little plays, rather than trying to stick handle the puck from here to the front of your body, add little touches, a little tap. So coming in here, a little tap, and just tap it to that area that you want to go. If I'm on my backhand, same thing. I'm here, just tap. Coming in, just tap, and just touching it to the areas that you want to put it in to make those plays. But Nylander's a great guy to watch. I know some parts of his game you may not want to emulate, but man, his stick handling and edge work and head up is unbelievable. So a great player to watch and kind of see how he handles the puck. It's so good, so good. One other one that we had was from T. Smith, and this was passing. So how to keep pucks flat. So again, especially with young kids or even older kids trying to make hard passes, how do you keep those pucks nice and flat when you're making those passes? And this is something that comes up all the time. And I'll show you kind of just passing off here. So I'll throw a pass over here. What happens 90% of the time when a player makes a bad pass or like a wobbly pass like this, so kind of puck wobbling in the air, is that their blade is not cupped. Okay, so this is something you're going to hear a lot of is cupping that blade, whether it's shooting, passing, picking up passes, but keeping that blade cupped. So if you can see my blade here, my blade's cupped, and then I'm going to push down and make that pass. And if you think if you're teaching a player this, making a pass is almost like a mini wrist shot. It's like a baby sister, baby brother to a wrist shot. If you think about it, I'm here, I'm still pushing on my bottom hand, and I'm following through low. So I'm keeping that blade cupped, and I'm going to follow through low. So as you're making that pass, your hands are in a good position, your blade's cupped, and you're going to push down with that bottom hand. And that's how you're going to keep that puck flat, just by pushing down and keeping the puck on the ice. If I open that blade up, now that puck's going to end up fluttering, and then I'm making a bad pass. The other thing, too, is a lot of players have that puck too far out from their body. So when they have their puck's out here making their pass, and they're just kind of chipping it. You want that puck back in that stance a little bit, just like a wrist shot, and I'm going to push on that bottom hand and then release it out front of my body, but don't start it out there. That's going to end up making that puck flutter a ton. Backhand, same idea, right? I want it in a good spot. My blade's cupped, and I'm going to try to slide down on that ice. So I'm going to pull my bottom hand. Again, I'm not pushing, obviously. I'm pulling. So I'm going to pull with that bottom hand, and I'm going to keep that puck nice and flat on the ice by cupping that blade. So there's a couple little examples or a couple little things to key in on. Just watch your player. Make sure their blade's not too opened up. All right, make sure that puck's not too far away from their body. Try to keep that puck beside their body to make that pass. All right, great question. Thanks a lot, Smitty.
We've got Jim here who asked, how can forwards practice puck protection? So what might be some drills or things that you teach?
Yeah, great. So the question was, from Jim, how can forwards work on puck protection? So how can they get better at protecting the puck? And again, it's going to depend on what you have. So if you've got a brother, sister, dad that's able to help you, that's amazing because they can add some static or some pressure to you. If you're out in practice or you're a coach running a practice with some players, I think just adding some drills where there is a little bit of, and I know right now with the pandemic, it's hard to do this, but even if it's a stick length away, just getting players comfortable with protecting the puck. We've all seen drills like in a small area. So if you coned off, let's say I'm in a small area period here, but if I coned off a small area, having one-on-one battles, just a one-on-one keep away game, right? But how do we do this and how do we teach? So biggest thing is, what's the best parts of our body to protect the puck with? Okay, what's the strongest parts and the best parts to give us leverage, to give us space? It's going to be our hips and our butt, right? So we want to get our hips and our butt out. So if a player's coming at me, if you put two players in a circle most of the time, especially young players, say keep away, they're going to attack each other like this. And as they get older, you're like, no, we don't want them to do that. We want them to protect it. So get away from that player. Don't go at that player right away, right? So if you're talking about puck protection, if you're going to attack him to go down, that's fine. But ideally, we want to get our hips and our butt in front of that player. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, very, very important, is our head. So making sure we know where that pressure is coming from. So looking around, and then protecting that puck. The other thing is underhandling. A lot of times players will protect and the next thing you know, they lose their puck. So we just want to have that puck in a spot so we know where it is, we can feel it, and now we're looking around. We've done it a bunch before where we'll have a player coming up the ice like this. And again, you can do this on your outdoor rink, in your basement, just walking. So just even walking like this. But we have a player behind them with their stick either on this side of the body or on this side of their body. So what happens is as this player's coming up the ice, they're getting tapped here, so they got to move the puck over here. They're getting tapped on that side, they got to move it over here. So we want them to see and to feel where that pressure is, all right? And that's a big one too. You want to be able to feel pressure a little bit. So if that player's on me here, I can bring it around. I can look, and and bring that puck around and then protect that puck. So those are little ones. The other one too is our feet and our legs. So if we think of somebody coming in here, and dads do this to their kids all the time, right? But teaching our kids how to do this. So let's say I've got a player coming in like this. So I got the puck, or we're going for a puck, and this player's coming in this way. I've got my stick here. This player's coming in here. Right away, what I do is I kick my foot out and knock that stick away. So I'm just kicking my foot out, knocking that stick away, and then I can get the puck and then make a play. So just using our feet to knock sticks away, or using our legs to knock sticks away and protect pucks. And then the other thing too on puck protection is blocking sticks. So if I've got a stick here coming at me, I'll set up like this. So let's say that's a player. And somebody who's awesome at this, kind of a little bit old school here, but it was Datsuk. Pavel Datsuk was unbelievable at this. You see him go down on one-on-ones with the defenseman, and he'd whack the defenseman's stick, right? Now, you can't two-hand it, but you can protect your puck that you have by just knocking that stick away a little bit. Especially at battles in the corner and stuff like that, teaching the offensive player how to become defensive, meaning I've got the puck here, but that player's coming at me, and his stick's there. I'm going to knock his stick away or stop his stick and then keep my puck. So little things like that. Body's huge. Obviously, our butt, our hips, our legs, right? And protecting that puck. You can use your arm to shield some pucks out, but then also using your stick. So just using your stick to knock a stick away and then protect that puck. And this can all be done in a variety of different drills, whether you're doing them like down low on little one-on-ones or two-on-twos, or inside a circle, or coning off a small area where players have to just be in a tight confined space and just work on protecting the puck and battling for the puck. You can do it without a stick. I'm sure you've all seen it with, a player like this around the puck, and he's just trying to box out with his feet and his legs and his butt. So just getting them comfortable with that, and then adding a stick with some puck handling. But tons of different stuff to do. I hope that helped, Jim. If you want to elaborate on it or whatever, let me know, and we can add some more stuff to it. But puck protection is huge. Being able to protect that puck and make sure that you're obviously keeping it away from opposing players. It's massive. So great question, though. Thanks.
I've got another one from Nick here on YouTube. It says, is it okay for a taller player to use a low flex stick?
Okay, so the question is from Nick, is it okay for a taller player to use a low flex stick? Meaning, so let's say a taller player, let's say you think of a Chara. So Chara's massive, right? And he's got a long stick, but his flex on a stick, I'm going to assume, is somewhere like a 120, which is crazy, crazy stiff, okay? But for him, it's not super stiff because he's a big, tall guy, strong, he could flex it. For a player that's kind of, let's go down a little bit to someone that's kind of, let's say, 6 foot. They might use like a 90, right? 85, 90, 95, maybe 100, who are, good size, good stiffness. So flex all comes down to personal preference as well as the type of player you are. So if you're a player that likes to snap pucks a lot and shoot them quick, then you're going to want to use a lighter flex, meaning going down in number. So 100 would be very stiff. 120 is crazy stiff, depending on how tall you are. But like an 85 would be a little bit whippier. 75 would be even whippier. And usually 75 would be the lowest you'd find in the NHL. You might find a couple 65s maybe, but for the most part, 75 is probably the whippiest. And guys that'll use that are probably guys like Kessel. I know Brett Hull used to use a really, really whippy stick because he liked to let pucks go quickly. And the thing with a whippy stick is if you've got a 95 flex stick right now and then you go down to a 75, you're going to feel like it's a piece of licorice. Like it's like, well, it's not. It's going to be stiff, but it's going to feel weird. And with a flexier stick, when you shoot, you're going to feel that stick flex and then kind of release. So the biggest thing with a flexi stick is if I can get it off quick, I can use that flex quickly and then release that puck a little bit faster, right? So if you're a shooter who likes to snap pucks a lot and let pucks go quickly, you probably want a little bit of a less flex to use that shaft a little bit more. Use the flex on that shaft to let the puck go. So to answer the question, can a tall player use a light flex? 100%. Now the one thing with a tall player is, because they are tall, they're probably going to have a little bit of weight behind them. So if they're heavy and strong, they may get too much flex on that stick and add too much whip, and then you got pucks spraying all over. It's hard to get accurate with it. So they may want to increase their flex a little bit more. But again, it's all on preference. If you got a tall player that loves to shoot a lot and just quick little shots, then a less flex might be better. So like a 75 or 85 might be better, but it's all going to be personal preference. And if you can, just try out different flexes. And you don't have to go buy a bunch of sticks, but you can just borrow some off a buddy. If you're at a men's league game, be like, hey, can I try your stick? What flex is that? Even though the curve's off, you can get a feel for that shaft and what it feels like when you're shooting pucks and kind of getting into it. But it's a really good question because the flexes are always, who knows. But just to give you an idea, at the NHL level, you're probably the lowest flex you're going to see on a stick is probably about a 70 flex, 75. And the highest you're going to see is probably about a 120, which would be someone like a Chara or a Weber, who's a big boy who can fire the puck hard and needs a stiffer stick so they don't flex it too much and cause too much breakage or too much whippiness. All right.
Got another good one here from Austin who says, how would you attack or defend against the bigger player in the corner if you're one of the smaller players?
All right, very good question. So Austin was asking, how would you defend or attack a bigger player if you're a smaller player? So if I'm a smaller player, I'm going to the corner against a bigger guy, and I'm going to defend. Now I'll answer this in two ways. So one way is if there's no contact at all. So if I'm playing against a big player and I'm not in body checking yet, so let's say that big player's got a stick here. Just like I said earlier, the number one thing I want to do if that player's got the puck, number one thing I want to do if I'm not playing contact. So I know when I was young, it was like first guy go in, take the man. So you hit the guy, second guy come in, take the puck. Well, it's kind of changed a little bit over the years, right? And now if I'm not playing contact, I can't go in and run this guy or hit this guy, or a girl. So if the puck's there, number one thing I want to do is try to get that puck to my team. So I want to try to knock that puck away. So I'm going to try to go in and look where the puck is, and I'm going to try to freeze this player, meaning I'm not going to give them any outs. So I don't want, if I go in hard on this side, that player is going to roll off that way. If I go in hard on this side, that player is going to roll off that way. So I want to go in on an angle where I'm going to push him to where and I'm going to try to get that puck off him. That makes sense. So don't go right at them. Shit. There you go. We're good. Who put that there anyway? So if I'm coming in on a player here, I don't want to go straight at him because I'm going to give them too many outs. I want to come in a bit on an angle. So if I'm coming in right here, I'm going to go on an angle. I'm going to try to knock that puck away. And again, my free hand, if I got one hand that's free, I want to use that, all right, in order to try to control hips, control body. So use that in order to control hips, control body, and then knock that puck, all right? Now, if it's contact hockey, then I want to try to go in and play the body on that player. Now, as a smaller player against a bigger player, I'm not probably going to go in and try to run this guy, right? Whereas you see big defensemen going in on smaller players or big forwards going in on smaller players, they're going to try to hit them, knock them off the puck, right? I know I probably not going to be able to knock this player off the puck, but I still want to make contact. So if I'm going to come in here, my first initial contact as a player playing contact hockey, if I'm a smaller guy, is use my stick. I'm not coming in and cross-checking this player, but I'm coming in with my stick on my hips, and I'm going to give him a jab on his hips. So I'm just trying to throw him off balance a little bit. I'm going to recoup, and then I'm going to come in and try to get that puck off that player. And we see a lot of small defensemen right now, like Hughes, Makar, Girardi. There's a bunch. Krug, that are awesome players, man. They're so good, and they're so good in the corners. And the biggest reason they're so good is their stick. They got a really, really, really good stick. They're smart with their stick at taking away lanes, but they're also really good at flushing pucks out of players. So getting pucks like that or knocking pucks off a player like that and then getting it to their teammate or making a play with it. So I think the biggest thing there is making sure that you've got a good stick. And if you're going to come in and contact hockey, you can come in and make a hit with your hands, that's fine. Or you protect yourself a little bit with your stick. You don't cross-check. You just leave it here, give a little shove, knock those hips a bit, and then try to battle for that puck, throw that player off a bit, and then make a play. And I guess one of the biggest pieces of advice I could give for smaller players, and I was a smaller player when I played, is keep working on your feet, keep working on your skating, keep getting better on your edges. So even as a D-man, if I can go in on that puck and I can get it before that anybody's in there, now I'm not in a battle, I can wheel, make a play. Like you look at Torrey Krug, how good he is at just getting pucks out with his feet as far as skating them out, making passes, right? So keep working on your skating and also work back for that puck now and looking where my outs are. I know who's around me. I know where to push that puck or make a play. So just being aware of your surroundings and keep working on your feet. So the better your feet can get, obviously, the better that's going to get. So thanks for the question, also. That's great.
One easy one here. How big is your rink?
Yeah, good question. So my rink is, I want to say it's roughly about 17 feet wide, so not very wide, and about 35 feet long. So for me, it's obviously small for me if I was going to have my buddies over, but I've got young kids, 8 and 7, and it's been awesome, man. They've used it a ton and they love it. And it's been a lot of fun. Even I come out and play with them and stuff like that. And with building it, I'm able to do stuff like this with the ODR. Now, I think with every dad out there that's built the rink and mom who's built the rink, I want to make it bigger. So I'm looking at ways that I can go over that side or what we're going to do next year, but I'd love to make it a little bit bigger for sure. So anybody out there who's got a small rink, they're awesome. They're great. It's wicked for shooting. Like it's long enough to kind of shoot. If you thought about it, blue line in, I'm probably, I'd say 5-10 feet short of the blue line, roughly, eh? So the blue line would be 5-10 feet longer than what we are. So for shooting top of the circles, things like that. It's great. Like we do, I love full disclosure. So I obviously just tripped over one of my obstacles there, but that'll be in the blooper reel. But I love coming out, honestly, like the times I'm coming out to try like a new stick or sharpen or something that I've done, and I'll just like literally just come out and fire pucks, and I'll use this passer and I'll just pass it out, quick catch, and then right away shot. And I'll do this for like 10, 15 minutes, get a little sweat on. If my neighbors saw me, they think I'm crazy, but it's been awesome. So I've loved it. So that's kind of the layout of our rink right now.
Another good one from Nick here says, what do you want to look at in the defender's body language when you're kind of making a move on them or trying to dangle?
Yeah, really good question. So if I'm attacking a defender, okay, so the question is, if I'm attacking a defender, what am I looking at when I'm making a move? Like, how do I set a defender up? What am I looking at to be able to see where the openings are so I can get a puck through or around a defender? And it's a really, really good question. So if I've got, let's take this bucket of pucks. This will be my player, all right? And this will be their stick. Okay, so there's my defender, and I'm coming in. So number one thing I want to look at is the stick. So if I'm attacking, I'm coming this way trying to score, I want to look at the stick. And I want to try to stay away from it, or I want to set it up. So meaning if this is a young player, and this happens all the time, if I can fake this way and get him to swing his stick or her to swing her stick, now I can take that puck on the outside, right? Or maybe I want that player to swing their stick a little bit so I can put it through their triangle. And what I mean by that is maybe I add a little fake out here. I want this player to slide their stick this way, and then I can tap it through their triangle and take it around. So number one thing is stick. So take a look at their feet, or sorry, their stick and what their stick's doing, how they're playing it. Some defenders are like this at young ages. Now you've got all kinds of room to go around. Some defenders are swinging their stick, right? Which again, we're not answering this right now, but if you're coaching defense, want to get them to keep that stick on their puck like we talked about earlier. So number one thing is the stick. The second thing is going to be their feet, right? So with their feet, if I come in and I start cutting this way and I see their stick move this way, all right, and I see their feet start to shuffle or cross, now I know if I have enough room, I can cut this way. He's stuck or she's stuck in a cross or shifting their weight over. So now I can come in like this, get them to move that stick and then cut, because now their stick and feet are going that way. So the big thing is going to be their stick and their feet and where that is. And you'll see sometimes, you know, if you're playing in a game, and let's say you've got the puck and I'm defending and I'm coming at you like this, look at my toe caps right now. So this player right here would have a real good chance of going wide on me this way because I'm coming at them with my toe caps going this way, so it's hard to recover. So again, keeping an eye on body position. And as you get good at this stuff, you can set guys up. We talked about Nylander a little bit today, but guys like Connor McDavid, unbelievable at this. But just looking this way. So looking, and then cutting back and going the opposite way. So again, I'm faking like I'm going to go this way, and then come back the other way. So they that are attacking on the offense, look at a player's stick, and then try to start looking at where their feet are and how their feet are moving. Are they turning on them? Are they cutting? Where their toe caps are facing, and see if you can't make a quick little move off of that. But the more deceptive you become, as far as using that head, quick hands with the stick, the movement with the feet, the more deceptive you become, way more options you're going to have and way more, moves you're going to be able to pull off on players in games for sure.
One more from Jim here. He asks specifically about Jack Hughes. I must have missed the goal, but he kind of asked, how do you flip the puck over defender's stick?
Yeah, really good question. So the question was Jack Hughes maybe scored a goal or maybe set up a goal, but by flipping a puck over a player's stick. So if I've got a player here like this, and we've got real quick too, little plug here, but we've got a whole ODR section coming out here of stuff you can do on your outdoor rink, little drills and stuff. We've got about 20, 30 videos now that are out. And so if you become a member at National Skill Development Association, you're going to get access to all that stuff. And now we're starting to also break down certain skills in depth, like 15, 20 videos on just a wrist shot, 15, 20 videos on just a snapshot, from picking your stick, picking your flex, to releasing it, to shooting in stride, to catching off a pass. So kind of a whole big gamut. But we have a bunch of videos on chips and flips. And basically, chipping off the backhand, we're going to want to pull our puck quick. So we're going to pull it quick and then create a bit of a ramp on our backhand. And if you get a chance to go out after this or downstairs in your basement or go outside, try it out. So if I pull my puck like this quick, my forehand and my backhand, now I can get underneath it and just give it a little chip. So you see my puck kind of sauces up. Now, when I do it, I want to come underneath. I want to hit the ice, and I want to just kind of come under, just a little roll. So that's going to add a little spin to my puck, get my puck up in the air. So again, I pull it and just give it a little sauce like that. So coming in, pull, and then just a little sauce like that as we're pulling that puck and then popping it up. So that's one way I can get over a stick and pull and then popping it over. The other way is on our forehand, where I can either flip it, so I can come off my toe and flip, okay, which is really easy. All you're going to do is come in, you're just going to pull it with your toe, get underneath and scoop it up and over. So again, pull it and then scoop it up and over. Pull it, scoop it up and over. If you want to sauce it over a stick so you can shoot it right away, a little bit tougher, but all you're going to do now is you're going to pull it from your toe on a bit of an angle, and you're going to sauce underneath the heel of it. So again, it's going to look like this. I'm going to pull it, and then I'm saucing it over. I pull it, and then I'm going to sauce it over. Pull it, and then sauce it. So if I'm coming in on a player, I can pull that puck in here, and then just give a little sauce to get it up and over. That one's harder. It's awesome and tight. It's really good to make little plays on player sticks. Just got to practice getting that puck in close to your body like this, and then getting under that heel, and then popping that puck up as you're coming through. So just a little pull like this, pull, and then a little sauce over. So pull, and then a little sauce over, which I'm not able to do right now. A little pull, and then sauce that puck over. So really, really easy way to do it, but you're right, chips and flips are becoming more and more part of the game, whether you're trying to get it over someone in the corner to make a play around your net. You can make little plays like this, but just working on it. So backhand, forehand. But those are the three major ones. That little backhand chip, so kind of a little sauce off the backhand. Then there's the forehand flip, so just getting that puck up in the air. And then there's that forehand sauce where you're just coming in and just getting that puck off your heel and just trying to get that puck up in the air a little bit. I hope that helps. But those are some things you can work on. And again, the best way to get better at that is just rep. So just trying to do as much reps as you can on that, getting comfortable going off your heel, toe, all that kind of stuff to get that puck in the air. Awesome question. Well, thank you. All right. Okay. That was awesome, man. I really appreciate the questions we had live. It's great. And the questions during the week are great. So if you have questions that come up in conversation, or you're at the rink, or you're thinking about something, fire them on our YouTube page at National Skill Development Association, or on Facebook or Instagram, any of our handles, and I'll add them and I'll put them on the board for next week. We're going to try to do one again next week. I'll try to send out probably Wednesday or Thursday to let you know. Today, I apologize. It was a bit later at 1 o'clock. I ended up being on the ice this morning with some small groups, so I couldn't do it at 11, but I'll try to go back to that 11. Between 11 and 1, I'll try to make sure that we're able to do them there. And again, as I mentioned, we're going to have a bunch of new videos coming out on the outdoor rink. So kind of an ODR series of just stuff you can do at home, and a lot of stuff we talked about on these lives as well. But you can get access to those videos. We have a bunch of other videos that we're putting out and that we've already had out that are part of being the member. So just become a part of the TPA or the NSDA family. And yeah, you can get access to a bunch of different resources, drills, videos, all that kind of stuff. So we really appreciate you guys checking in. And again, if you have any questions or anything, or you want to talk hockey, feel free to reach out anytime, and we'll answer any questions that you have. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next week. Let's hit that end day. Up in the top right. End broadcast.